In a moment of profound wisdom and courage, you chose to lovingly and peacefully detach yourself from your person. What might have appeared to others as an act of withdrawal or surrender was, in its truest essence, something far more powerful and transformative. This detachment was not born from coldness or indifference, but rather from the deepest wells of love itself. It was an act of spiritual maturity, a conscious decision to step back and create the sacred space that was desperately needed for true healing to take root and flourish. At first glance, this separation may have felt like distance stretching between two souls, like an unbridgeable chasm opening up where connection once existed. There may have been moments when it seemed like abandonment, like the severing of something precious and irreplaceable. But beneath the surface of appearances, something miraculous was unfolding. Your absence, your willingness to release your grip and trust in something greater than immediate gratification, became a mirror of the most powerful kind. It reflected back to your person everything they had been avoiding, everything they had been running from, everything they had carefully constructed walls around to keep themselves from truly seeing. This mirror forced them to confront their own patterns, those deeply ingrained habits of thought and behavior that had become so familiar they were almost invisible. It illuminated their resistance, showing them how they had been fighting against the very thing their soul yearned for. It exposed the elaborate system of excuses they had constructed over time, justifications they had used to rationalize staying away, to explain why they couldn't fully commit, to make sense of their own fear-driven choices. These excuses had once provided comfort, a kind of psychological shelter where they could hide from the vulnerability that true love demands. But now, something fundamental is shifting. That comfort is dissolving like morning mist under the rising sun. The protective mechanisms they once relied upon are crumbling, becoming transparent and ineffective. They can no longer hide behind the walls they so carefully built, stone by stone, defense by defense. Those barriers that once felt so solid and necessary are now revealed as the prisons they truly were, keeping them locked away not just from you, but from their own authentic self and the love they were meant to experience. A profound weariness is settling into their bones. They are beginning to grow tired of their own stories, exhausted by the repetitive narratives they have told themselves and others to justify their choices. The cycles that kept them from you, those endless loops of fear and retreat, of reaching out and pulling back, have become unbearably heavy. They are tired of denying what their soul has always known to be true, what whispered to them in quiet moments and shouted at them in dreams. The truth they tried so hard to suppress is no longer willing to be silenced. A new emotion is stirring within them now, one that cuts through all the intellectual defenses and logical arguments they once deployed. Panic is beginning to take hold, but not the destructive kind that paralyzes and destroys. This is a different species of fear altogether. This is the fear that awakens, that jolts the sleeping heart into movement, that shakes someone out of complacency and forces them to act before it is too late. The realization is setting in with crystal clarity that they may truly lose you if they continue to remain stuck in this suffocating silence, trapped in their own inability to speak the words their heart has been screaming. Sleepless nights have become their constant companion now. The darkness finds them lying awake, staring at ceilings, wrestling with thoughts that refuse to grant them peace. No matter how desperately they try to distract themselves, no matter what strategies they employ to escape, they cannot outrun thoughts of you. Every corner of their mind has become territory you occupy. Your presence echoes through their consciousness like a song they cannot forget, a melody that plays on repeat in the background of every moment. Your energy lingers everywhere in their experience. It appears in their dreams, weaving through the landscape of their unconscious mind with such vividness that they wake with your name on their lips. It follows them through their waking moments, coloring every experience, making them wonder what you would think, how you would respond, what you might say. Even in the quiet spaces where they once thought they could suppress thoughts of you, where they believed they could find respite from this longing, your essence persists. There is no escape from this connection, no refuge from the truth of what exists between you. The tables have indeed turned in the most profound way. What once may have felt like an endless waiting game, a one-sided longing where you carried all the weight of desire and hope, has now shifted dramatically. The balance has tilted, and your person finds themselves in the position they perhaps never fully understood when you occupied it. Now they are the one consumed by longing, their heart aching with a need they can no longer deny or diminish. They are the one preparing, turning over possibilities in their mind, rehearsing conversations that have not yet happened. They are planning, trying to figure out the right approach, the right words, the right timing. They are envisioning a reunion with such intensity that it occupies their every spare thought, imagining how it might unfold, what they will say, how they will express everything that has been building inside them. Regardless of how things may appear in the physical, three-dimensional world that we can see and touch, something much more significant is happening on planes beyond ordinary perception. Union is aligning on a higher level, in the realm where soul agreements are honored and divine timing orchestrates events with precision beyond human understanding. Behind the veil of ordinary circumstances, beyond the mundane details of daily life that can make everything seem so fixed and permanent, a divine orchestration is actively at work. Forces beyond your comprehension are moving pieces into place, clearing pathways, removing obstacles, and preparing the ground for what is destined to emerge. The Queen of Cups and the King of Cups, those archetypal energies of emotional mastery and deep feeling, are reclaiming their rightful place side by side upon the thrones of justice and love. This imagery speaks to something far greater than a simple romantic reunion. This is not merely about two individuals coming back together after a period of separation. This is about the restoration of cosmic balance, the righting of something that had fallen out of alignment. This is an anchoring of truth in a world that often celebrates illusion, a fulfillment of what was always destined to manifest, written in the stars before either of you took your first breath. Your person feels the weight of this calling pressing upon them with increasing urgency. They are being summoned by forces they cannot fully name or understand, pulled by an invisible thread toward their purpose and their truth. They are being called to step fully into their role, to inhabit the fullness of who they were meant to be in this connection. They are being asked to honor the bond that exists between you, to recognize its sacred nature and treat it with the reverence it deserves. They must fulfill the promise of love that cannot be denied, a promise that was made on levels beyond conscious awareness, in the space where souls communicate directly. For them, there is no longer a path backward that feels authentic or viable. The old ways that once seemed safe and reasonable now feel hollow and false. The hesitations that once controlled their choices have lost their power to convince. The fears that kept them frozen in place no longer hold the same paralyzing grip. Something has fundamentally shifted in their inner landscape, and return to the past is no longer possible. Just when you thought it was over, when you had finally released your grip and surrendered the connection into divine hands with a mixture of exhaustion and acceptance, just when you made peace with whatever outcome the universe had planned, it begins again. But this time, everything is different. This time there is a clarity that was absent before, a crystalline knowing that cuts through all confusion and doubt. Your person knows exactly what they want now, and that singular focus is you. There is no ambiguity clouding their vision anymore, no competing desires pulling them in different directions. They have released the hesitation that once characterized their every move toward you. The indecision that kept them wavering between yes and no, between moving forward and retreating backward has been burned away by the fire of realization. Their heart has finally spoken more loudly than their mind, overriding all the logical arguments and fearful projections that once drowned out its voice. Their focus has become singular, unwavering, and determined in a way it never was before. At this very moment, you are the only thing that fills their thoughts with any real significance. Everything else has faded into background noise, revealed as the distraction it always was. When they look at you now, whether from near or far, whether in person or through the lens of memory and imagination, they see you with fresh eyes filled with awe and wonder. They feel an overwhelming pride in all that you have become, in the person you have evolved into through your own journey. They watch from a distance, perhaps silently and without announcement, observing your life unfold through whatever windows are available to them. Yet they see with remarkable clarity how you continue to grow, stretching toward the light like a plant reaching for the sun. They witness how you rise above circumstances that would diminish others, how you transmute pain into wisdom and obstacles into opportunities. They observe you embodying your highest self more fully with each passing day, becoming the fullest expression of your potential. Your achievements fill them with a pride they struggle to contain. Your resilience in the face of everything you have endured moves them deeply, reminding them of the strength they always knew resided within you. Your radiance, that inner light that shines forth regardless of external circumstances, captivates them completely. They cannot help but speak of you to others, bragging about how extraordinary you are even when it might seem inappropriate or reveal more than they intend. In their eyes, you are unmatched, incomparable to anyone else they have known or could know. Their admiration for you has only deepened with time and distance, grown richer and more profound as they have come to truly understand what they had and what they lost. The love they feel now is stronger than ever before, intensified by absence and clarified by reflection. This is not merely a fleeting emotion that will pass with the next change of seasons or shift of circumstances. This is not infatuation or temporary attraction. What they feel is profound, enduring devotion of the kind that weathers storms and endures through years. It is a love that has been tested by separation and emerged not weakened but fortified, not diminished but expanded. There is a fire burning within them now that will not be extinguished or ignored. It is a restless urgency to speak, to reach out across whatever distance separates you, to finally break the silence that has lasted far too long. Every day that passes without communication feels like a wasted opportunity, a moment lost that can never be recovered. The words are building up inside them like water behind a dam, pressing against the barriers of fear and uncertainty, seeking release. They yearn to communicate with you in ways that go beyond casual conversation or surface-level pleasantries. They want to share the profound changes they have undergone, the internal revolutions that have remade them from the inside out. They want to show you the transformations that have taken place in their life, the ways they have grown and evolved, the lessons they have learned through suffering and reflection. They want you to see that they are not the same person who caused you pain, that something fundamental has shifted in their understanding and their heart. Much of this transformation you already sensed intuitively. Your inner knowing, that quiet voice of wisdom that speaks in the spaces between thoughts, has been guiding you all along. You always recognized the potential of this connection, saw what it could become even when current reality seemed to contradict your vision. You spoke predictions aloud or held them silently in your heart, felt certainties about how things would unfold even when evidence suggested otherwise. And now, piece by piece, like a puzzle finally revealing its complete image, those insights are becoming manifest reality in the physical world. Every revelation that reaches you, every sign that appears, every shift you witness affirms that your intuition was guiding you correctly all along. You were not delusional or foolish for believing. You were not wrong to trust in what you felt even when others doubted. You are tuned into a frequency of truth that operates beyond the limitations of physical evidence and logical proof. This journey you have been walking is not one of random chance or meaningless coincidence. This is a path of divine timing, where every delay served a purpose and every detour led exactly where it needed to go. It is a path that asks you to trust deeply, to have faith even when faith feels impossible, to believe in what you cannot yet see manifested before you. It asks you to surrender when necessary, to release control and allow the universe to work its magic without your interference. It requires you to follow the quiet wisdom of your inner voice, that subtle guidance that never shouts but always speaks truth. Though the external world may present illusions of delay that test your patience, though it may show you rejection that wounds your heart, though distance may seem to separate you in ways that feel permanent and insurmountable, the truth that exists on deeper levels is far different from these surface appearances. Love is building between you like pressure beneath the earth before a geyser erupts. Alignment is unfolding like a flower opening its petals to the morning sun, slowly but inevitably. Reunion is not merely possible but inevitable, written into the fabric of your shared destiny. Your role in all of this is not to force anything into being through sheer will or desperate action. You are not meant to manipulate or scheme or push against the natural unfolding of events. Your role is to continue trusting yourself, honoring the wisdom you carry within, nurturing your own growth without putting your life on hold, and walking with faith even when the path ahead seems shrouded in uncertainty. Your person is stepping into their courage now, day by day, moment by moment. They are moving through the fear that once paralyzed them, pushing past the old stories that once trapped them in cycles of avoidance and retreat. They are preparing themselves to meet you with open hands that have released all the things they once clung to, and an open heart that has finally dismantled its defenses. They recognize the significance of this connection now more clearly than ever before, understanding it not as one option among many but as something irreplaceable and sacred. They understand with bone-deep certainty that what you share cannot be replaced by anyone else or replicated in any other relationship. The love they carry for you is not merely emotional, not just a feeling that rises and falls with circumstances. This is spiritual love, a bond that transcends the ordinary realm of human relationship and calls for devotion of a higher order. This is soul recognition, the kind of connection that philosophers and poets have tried to capture in words throughout human history. In time, and perhaps sooner than you dare to hope, you will see their actions aligning with the words they have long struggled to speak. Movement will follow intention. Demonstration will follow realization. This is the transformation you once hoped for during those long nights of longing and prayer, now manifesting before your very eyes in ways both subtle and profound. Trust that the universe has heard every single prayer you whispered into the darkness. Trust that every tear you cried was collected and honored, that your pain was not meaningless or wasted. Trust that every intention you set with earnest heart was answered in the invisible realms before manifesting in visible form. You are not walking blindly through a random and uncaring universe. You are walking a path of destiny, guided by forces that love you beyond measure and conspire continuously for your highest good. So continue to trust yourself through all the ups and downs still to come. Continue to honor your intuition, that inner compass that has never truly led you astray even when the journey became difficult. Your intuition is guiding you through this sacred unfolding with more precision than any external map could provide. You are being led not just toward reunion with your person, though that is indeed part of the journey. You are being led toward something even more valuable, a deeper embodiment of love itself, a fuller expression of wisdom, a more complete anchoring in truth. You are becoming who you were always meant to be, and this connection has been one of the primary catalysts for that transformation. Everything that was once hidden in shadow is now being revealed in the light. Every truth that was suppressed is now emerging. Everything you believed in during the darkest hours, when belief required more courage than you thought you possessed, is coming true before your eyes. This is not the end of your journey, despite how many times it may have felt like an ending. This is the beautiful beginning of a new chapter where love leads the way, where healing continues its sacred work, and where the union you dreamed of finally takes form in the physical world, as real and solid as the ground beneath your feet.